Hey folks, Kelly Indy Smith here. Welcome to my video. If this is your first time watching any of my videos, I welcome you to this space. I usually make content reasoning on certain topics, spiritual aspects of the journey, what I've gained from that, insight, commentary on certain topics, you name it. And I also share my music on here. I'm a singer-songwriter, so I use this platform to also document my journey and share my music and all that good stuff. So if this interests you, please be sure to subscribe. If not, thank you for watching this video, and I hope that you get something out of it. And if this is not your first time watching my video, welcome back. So the year is winding down, and every time I say the year, I always have to remember that not everyone celebrates the new year like society does. So take that with a grain of salt when I say the year is winding down. But also, this is the perfect opportunity right now, I'm realizing, to just be in a space, if you celebrate this as your new year, to be in a space where it's just very reflective, be in a space that you kind of just grade yourself and see how you did this year. And not just in terms of the pandemic, not just in terms of seeing it through that lens, the lens that society has already narrated it to be, but really internally and as a person and personal development wise, what were some of your wins? What were some of your losses? What were some of the ways that you lost yourself this year? How did you find yourself this year? How did you do? What are some of the things you wish you had done? How could you have worked on certain aspects? And it's not to take yourself into this whirlwind of what could have been or should have been or would have been, but really to document and collect data from yourself, really, and allow yourself to be armed with knowledge of yourself on how you move forward. So it's the perfect time now, and that's the space I'm in right now, is just reflecting and grading myself, grading my performance this year, and cultivating an appreciation, cultivating a sense of gratitude for what is to come, cultivating like an excitement, like I'm ready for what's next, I'm ready for what this new year and all these new opportunities, what they're gonna hold. And it's also a challenge when you do that, to see how could I be more of myself, how could I develop even more intentionally into that person that I've already gotten a glimpse of. So whether that be to speak up more for myself, to allow myself to experience solitude, like real solitude, quietness more, to be more ambitious, to be more goal oriented, to develop myself as a leader, to be more of a family person, to be more submissive, to be a better girlfriend, to be a better wife, to be just continuously creating that kind of goal for yourself by evaluating who you already are and what this year showed you about who you are. And it's that thing where we begin to realize the possibilities are endless. It's not to say we're ever going to be perfect, but it's that thing where you could develop on yourself. You could actually infuse life into yourself by working at these aspects of our being that society unfortunately allows us to ignore, allows us to get distracted by, and all that stuff. So this is really a beautiful space, and I really like towards the end of the year, as society agrees on it, because it's really a time to just wind down and tie everything nicely. In this space of figuring out, how do I want to tie my year off? How do I want to close this year? What are the sentiments that I want to end with? What are some of the projects that I want to just flush out and just give myself that extra push and say 2020, it's been real, right? And it's a really nice space to be in. It's a nice space to just allow yourself to experience the opportunities of what happened and what could happen and what's happening right now. And I think to a lot of us, because of the pandemic, we have this idea that we stopped, or like the world stopped. Like nothing stopped. This was just an experience, or this is an experience that we're actually going through, but we haven't stopped. We haven't stopped breathing. We haven't stopped absorbing. We haven't stopped becoming, we haven't, like, all of that has still been flowing, you know. And it's in realizing that that actually allows you to be in a space where you could actually think of, how am I gonna become more this year, how am I gonna change, how am I gonna develop, and all that beautiful stuff. And it's really, really a nice place to be. And I'd just like to share one thing that I really got drilled into me, and it's, again, being in this space of reflection, this space of introspection. I'm realizing creating boundaries is so, so, so important. If it's one thing I think I learned for the year, it's definitely the need to create and stick to boundaries. Create your boundaries, stick to them, because it protects you from so much. And for me, I'm someone that my mental health wavers if I'm not careful with sticking to boundaries. So if I watch a certain type of content, if I consume certain types of content for too long, I start getting depressed. If I'm around certain people for too long, I start getting depressed. And it's suckish to be in that space, but it's even more suckish when you know why you're in that space, because you cannot follow your own boundaries. So creating boundaries has been one that I've realized that this is actually a way for me to protect myself. This is actually a way for me to become who I know I am, right? And the world doesn't know who you are. And that's another thing. It's like the work that needs to be done to be cultivated, to start living the life that you want, to start feeling the way that you want to feel, to start becoming who you want to become. That work has to be done by you and no one else. You could share with your friends, they could support you, but really you need to make those difficult decisions on your own. So whether it's saying for yourself that I don't allow this, I don't do this. For me, two of my boundaries: I don't go on Instagram after 10 p.m. No, I don't want anything in my space right before I go to bed that I know is just gonna trigger something from me. And another one is I don't curse. And sometimes I slip up, I say something that I'm like, okay, I shouldn't have said that, but I stick to those boundaries. And what I've realized is that it's given me an opportunity for me to really see who I am. With not cursing, it's something that has shown me, like, okay, how can I really express exactly how I'm feeling without having to just take one word to sum it up. And that has actually helped me with my communication and all that stuff. So boundaries is essential in creating the life and creating the person in ourselves that we want to create. And it starts with you. I think sometimes I get really sad when I see people who feel completely helpless about how their life is. And to a certain extent, I felt that way before. I felt like there was just something controlling life and I was just a recipient. But again, with intentionality, wanting to figure out who I am and wanting to actually become the version of me that the Most High created me to be, that has given me something to go for, and that has allowed me to break down the chains, like go into intricacies and see like what needs to be changed and all that stuff. So I'm sharing that with you folks to kind of give you something to think about as the year ends. What are ways that you could create boundaries and you could start cultivating new habits, break old habits and cultivate new habits for this new year. Because honestly, the race just began. It just began. I don't think it even started yet. I feel like this is probably still a warm-up. And it keeps getting harder. That's another thing I've realized, is that it keeps getting harder. There's no point where it's like, oh, this is easy. Nope. It keeps getting harder and harder. Every time I think I figured something out, or I'm at a place where I'm comfortable, I just end up falling. And not falling to the sense that I fall into, I lose myself, but falling and I realize I don't know, or I'm not even half of what I need to know, or half of what I need to be. And that's powerful, so just taking time to ask yourself those questions too, like ask yourself those difficult questions, ask yourself those embarrassing questions, and answer yourself with a sober mind. Answer yourself with a way that is loving, but also like you real with yourself. Don't shortchange yourself. If you saw that other video, you know what I'm talking about. Don't shortchange your story. Don't shortchange the place that you're at in life right now, but actively work to the you that you're seeing and the you that the Most High called you to be. So I've said a lot, and I think I said enough. So I'll see you folks in the next couple of videos. Like I said, there's a few stuff I want to flush out before the year winds down, so keep an eye out for that. Hopefully I make a video showing you folks how I got my purple yarn protective locks in. So thanks for watching. I wanna take you back. I wanna take you back.